Welcome, sir. I'm going to give an introduction for you. Um, Nomos is a chain abstraction as a service in the Cosmos space. And Ohad's background is he has a bachelor's of science in system information engineering from the Technion in Israel. He has a remarkable background, including service in the intelligence IDF and a substantial financial acumen developed at GP ZMT Capital. So welcome, sir. We're happy to have you and chat about chain abstraction. And
Yeah, thank you so much. Nice to be here.
cheers.
I mean, I'm with my bottle, so yeah.
Good, good. Well, why don't you tell folks what chain abstraction is and why it's important?
Yeah, sure. So there is a lot of definition to say what is chain abstraction. It's really, I think it's a really wide range of colors of like calling something a chain abstraction. Um, but I'll say in the end of the day, they all have like the coming to the same point into saying, okay, chain abstraction is the way to connect between all the chains in a way that users or developers don't need to feel like they are jumping between different chains. And I can expand more, and I like to give like explanation or like a reflection how it's look like in Web 2 if we had this problem. So as example, if we want to compare this problem to Web 2, in my opinion, is that imagine that you're going into your GitHub right now and you can register to your GitHub because it's sitting on like server of AWS or something. You can connect only with your Gmail. But if you want to go right now to your Versal or even to your Instagram, you need to like connect with your Yahoo. And if you want to use like another app that's sitting on another server, you need to connect with your Outlook. So all of this is a fragmentation of your email or your identity that like with different addresses that just like sitting on a different, I will say, different networks or different servers. And this it was look like, and I think it was look like in the start when in Web 2, if they have like that chain abstraction problem, that actually what is saying that we don't have a same language of communication between all the blockchains that can connect all of them together. So blockchain A don't understand really what blockchain B is something because the mechanism is different and a lot of like kind of these problems.
So I guess for users who only want to buy meme coins, like does chain abstraction help get Solana meme coins on Cosmos?
So that's a good question. That depends. General, yes, that's what's supposed to happen. The idea of chain abstraction is two things. One, for the developers, you need to build where is better to build for you. As example, if you want to build like on Avalanche subnet, because the technical advantage that Avalanche have that other you see other blockchain don't have at the moment, or the opportunity in the market that they have right now, so you should be built there. But you don't need to start to think about like where is, because Memcon is the hype right now, where is Memcon is sitting. I'm just simply gonna integrate to like the Solana pump and fun through my Avalanche account, and not like taking aware of like paying gas fees in Sol and all of this, and keep it very, very simple. So this is for the developers, like build wherever, whatever, and in the perfect mechanism for you. Like one of the example that we can see today on Ethereum as example is that a lot of the liquidity is sitting there, and people try to build like these order books or like this crazy DAX, and this is going to be like pretty slow and not efficient. But in the other case, if there was building on network that was like more built for this, that working in parallel, something like this, it worked probably much better. The problem is that they're looking on the other network and they're saying, okay, these networks don't really have like users and don't really have like liquidity, so we cannot build them. But if chain abstraction was getting in, they can basically share the liquidity, share the user experience, or let the user from Ethereum to trade on their specific chains. So for your question, yes, this is one of the things that is supposed to happen. Like as example, bring the meme coins into the Cosmos space or into the Avalanche from Solana.
Awesome. Yeah, I just watched an amazing talk at Token 2049 about the importance of meme coins and building essentially a cult around
Yeah.
the idea, which is just a fascinating talk. I'd love to understand like what prompted you to build Nomos in the context of IBC, and how does it um, extend the IBC functionality?
Yeah. So great question. So we actually start in the Cosmos space because we get into Archway. That's still one of my favorite chains because they have this great mechanism of splitting the rewards into the contract developers. So we start there, and we actually came into the Cosmos space, and we have this like DAO tools that we built before on Ethereum, and we said, okay, let's do this thing on Archway because this is a perfect use case. Users need this. We need to build like this DAO tools that, and we're gonna get the reward. It's really hard in the DAO space to get actually paid on what you're doing. So we came and we see a problem and we jump into a multi-sig. We said, okay, we need a multi-sig to how to like split the reward between everyone. And of course, we get exposed into like what is IBC. I didn't have a clue. I didn't say a clue. I know better like before from working at the venture capital, like how Cosmos is working, but I didn't know how much amazing it's IBC. It's literally like a blue chip that I need that I think that everyone need to adopt. And I know your story as well that you've been fascinated from this as well. So we get exposed into what is like IBC and all of this, and we came to a point that we start to explore like ICA. So this is the interchain account, and we can talk about it later, and the ICQ models. And we say, oh my God, that's literally crazy. Like we actually can talk with other blockchains on the Cosmos space without any worry about like gas token or leaving or jumping to another network. Even the UX is great, but all the time you need to think, okay, I'm like uploading like Web2 users, and then the IBC is getting in. So the IBC allowed you to first of all really move transfer in a secure way, and they have like disadvantage as well. We can talk about that, but really like move assets in efficient way, cheap, seamless. So it's mean like everyone can open like to run like a channel. So basically can do all of it. And the other thing is this is the next generation that already exists of bridging, and we can talk about it as well, is that IBC is really good in moving packets, moving messages. And this is super important for what we're building, and especially for chain abstraction, because chain abstraction mostly is built on moving messages, is to tell to a protocol or to a user in the other side what to do. And this is really good for IBC.
But so when you see IBC, though, what are the additional pieces that Nomos brings to the table outside of just vanilla IBC?
So yeah, so Nomos took something that called the ICA controller, and it's basically a kind of smart contract application that wrote in by Serder from the Interchain Foundation, one of our advisors. And what it's led to us is to launch a Cosmos contract that can create an ICA. And maybe I'll explain 1 second what is an ICA before I keep talking about it. So ICA is the interchain account. It's a special model that live on the Cosmos SDK. and I think it's only for CosmWasm chains. And basically, what can happen through IBC, you can create an account that's sitting on the other side, on the other chain, and then you can control this account. So, in a nutshell, what can happen is that can say, let's say I'm sitting on Archway, I can swap on Osmosis with my Archway assets without need to move to the Osmosis chain or connect into their dApp and everything like this. And ICA have a couple of really good advantage. So first of all, and this is the idea that we took after. Like I said, it's seamless integration, seamless connectivity, we call that. So the end application that we're trying to use don't need to change anything in their code. They don't even know that the ICA is connected with them, because it's basically like a EOA, just regular account that being controlled from the other side. So it's not like the problem is starting when smart contracts start to talk with smart contract, and then they don't understand each other. So one of the smart contracts need to change their code to understand the messages from the other smart contract. So this is a problem. And the same problem with all the blockchains, like you have the fragmentation, and now you need to adopt any smart contract that you want. But with ICA, with this idea of accounts, is just happens seamlessly, because for the app, it's look like a regular user is talking. So I explained a little bit like ICA and disadvantage, but what we did, that we built like we took the ICA controller, move it into EVM as well, translate to Solidity, and basically it's let you to connect from any chain that's supporting CosmWasm or Solidity right now into the chain that's supporting like the ICA model on the Cosmos SDK. And then that's something that is important to say. It's even if you don't have a CosmWasm in like deployment on your chain, like Cosmos Hub now have, but before they didn't have. What other, like Osmosis, it's like it's not permissionless, so but you still can create your ICA there. So like I said, even if the chain is not permissionless, the ICA is permissionless, and you just can create it on any chain. So that's like super cool.
So I want to translate that for people that just blacked out. So ICA interchain accounts are accounts that you can control in your native homeland, and then which is ETH or Solana or Avalanche or Osmosis, and you can spin up other wallets on target chains that you're not a maxi on, and you can execute trades from your home team. So our mission at Landslide has been to connect IBC to Avalanche so that these transactions could take place. And then for reference, Ohad mentioned this in you mentioned this in like passing, but the existing bridges that are out are really consolidating most of their transactions over a single Oracle relayer pair, which means that in our effort to decentralize, we see these, the re-centralization take place. And, the ethos of Bitcoin was always, you can mine it yourself, you can participate in its peer-to-peer, and you can own the means of production. And we've always felt that that anyone can spin up an IBC relayer, and we hope that anyone can spin up a Landslide validator as well, so that they can take part in the means of production there.
Nice. Yeah. I think, like you said, yeah, it's thank you for like explaining it a little bit better. So I'll keep going on our end to IBC. So moving between chains need to know how to optimize messages, how to send them correctly. Like I said, we move it into Solidity, so it's an all new contract out there. We also built something called the ICQ controller. So it's the same idea as the ICA, is a contract that allowed you to query information from another chain, but with a smart contract. So that's really helping with anything that related to DeFi applications, like swapping or lending or borrowing from like two different chains. So we had also into it. And yeah, we basically took this idea of ICA and bring it to other chains. Now, I know Landslide as example of Cosmosm and Solidity. So we have both of this contract built over Cosmosm and Solidity. And I believe in the future, it's going to be also working in Rust in Solana VM. That basically really simple integration between all of these chains in a seamless way. What we need is an IBC connection that's gonna be between them.
So is when Nomos expands to Solana, what's your route there
So
for an
basically,
IBC connection?
yeah. So basically, we were fully working with Union. So
Okay.
when Union is gonna come into Solana, we'll be with them and also use their technology. I call it like IBC on steroids. uh, and because they are solving a lot of problems that IBC was stuck in, that we explored. Like IBC is not scalable in some ways, and Union team kind of solved it. So when they're gonna come to Solana, so we're gonna be there as well.
Right on. So that means so play out what that future looks like when Nomos is integrated in Union and Union talks to Landslide. What do you imagine users doing?
So that's the question that we're still trying to understand, and it's something that I need to come from both of the players. It's need to come from people like you that building like Landslide, like saying like what we want to see, like what things that are good things, like you talk about like meme coins, but what things that we want to see that gonna be on Landslide that I don't want to bring the app into me, but I want that my user will still use it, and that there is like a really good reason for that. Or what is the things that I want in Landslide that going to be built on Landslide and users from other chains will use it. So it's a little bit like the chicken and egg problem. Like what need to be first? Should we build like an application because we think that it's like useful for some users, or should we approach to the chains and approach to the users to talk with them about it? But in general, how it's supposed to be, or how it's supposed to look, I would say, is that you're gonna be in Landslide, and I think 95% of your total assets on Web3 are gonna be there because this is your chain. Um, you in the future you are paying bills from there. You are using it from like social fee, and this is really like important. I think no to say because social fee, as example, it's something that you might gonna use a little bit gas or doing off chain, but your user is sitting on this like specific chain, so you're gonna be there, and you don't want to miss the other application that let's be realistic, gonna cost for young chain a lot of money to bring, or I don't know like how much it's possible not to grow on from their ecosystem with grants and things like this. So you're gonna be on Landslide, and you're just gonna come to like an front end that look like pump and fun. It's actually pump and fun, and gonna do as everyone is doing, just like click with your wallet, pay with your MetaMask or whatever, and remember this on Solana. Pay with your MetaMask with the Landslide token for gas, and that's it. That's like one click, supposed to work, and user will go the what we call the road from chain A to chain A. So it's mean that you're moving from chain A to chain B, but you're going in the back to chain A. And this is a real chain abstraction because you studied in one point and you're going back to like going to another chain and get it there. So that's already exists. We are more looking in the turnaround, like the full circle. I'll say like experience for the users. So really simple integration.
So you sort of broke my mind there. Why would you go from chain A to chain A?
Because I don't want to keep the fragmentation going on. I want to keep my assets and not to start to use like 30 different wallets that I need to, each one of them I like have my gas token, each one of them have the private key, start to take, like people don't understand. I think they understand today how much responsibility is to like have like 3 or 4 different wallets with different like words or different private keys. That's like you're not going to your bank and like they start like to tell you, okay, like this is for this account, or if you have a business, this is for this account, and you like starting to like walk with 12 words that you need to remember all your life, like uh, put it in your garden or something, hide it or dig it into an hole or something, or keep it in your safe. uh, it's really simple, and this take a lot of like decentralized way, but there is a limit of how much users can keep and save this, like I'll say like this decentralized way. So I believe it can happen in 1 or 2 uh, uh, networks, I'll say, but more than this, it's going to be really hard on user losing the user experience. Now the second thing is the fragmentation. You don't want to, let's say, even if you were stuck and let's say everything is on like one wallet, but you are still like on Solana, and your part of your assets is sitting there, is kind of annoying. Like I want everything to be in one place that I know all the time where they are, on the same wallet, on the same address, and not start to collect my fragmentation liquidity from this different chains. So that's one of the second reason to do so.
So,
Also,
so
another thing is that, like, as we took the memcoins example, so it's a thing about sharing liquidity. If user can bring the memcoins with IBC to Landslide, Landslide have the opportunity to open like a secondary market for something like this. So it's given opportunity to the another chain as well.
yeah. So what you said a couple pieces there. Like, um, I'd say in our minds when we think about like interchain stuff, I imagine just when people get to ape into whatever they want from wherever they are, and they don't have to think about all the insane things we've just mentioned. They just, oh, I've heard WIF is kind of cool. I like the community. I just want to get it where I am, which is Trader Joe on Avalanche, or um, the cop community is really funny. I can't get it in Solana, so we have to basically slide. Landslides are our token, so we basically slide cock to Jupiter,
Mhm.
and then they pick it up there, or they pick it up on Pump.fun. So given that a lot of DeFi is just so hard to understand, I think that stuff will be just controlled with an AI agent that can evaluate the risk and say, I want 4% return, and my risk is, 1 out of 10, and then just show me what's available, and then you just click OK, and then it just executes 17 different transactions in the back end, and you just don't care as long as you can quantify the risk.
Yeah, correct. So that's a good point. So definitely, like AI agent is something that we looking at. It, like this is example, like something that I came from, like my degree and like all the LMMs and AI solutions. But the thing, even with this, you still need to operate this AI agent. And the only way to operate this AI agent in a decentralized way, and you want it to be in decentralized way, because you don't want it, everything will be like basically off-chain, trust on someone to do it for you, is to send a message to trigger this AI agent on the other chain. And then we're talking on the same idea. The AI agent is acting like an account that is basically like an AI machine that run the mission that you give him. But how you start the mission, you start with the message. And the message need to be like moved. And this is where IBC is getting in, because IBC is the best way to move message from one chain to another.
Why would you? Why not just use Layer 0 or Chainlink for message
Yeah.
passing?
So layer zero and Chainlink have really good solutions as well. So Chainlink, you more working on oracles in their verification, and it's good. It's working as well. The thing is that what you prefer to like work with a state machine that like basically you know what's going on. It's pretty automatical, or work like count on like an oracle. So that's the first example. Layer zero, it's a good solution for liquidity. Definitely, like I know a lot of the dApps that we're using today moving liquidity through layer zero with their solution. I don't know how far away they are with messaging. And why using IBC is because IBC, first of all, it's permissionless. So anyone can set an IBC in the moment that you have like the machines are working or the chain is supporting, everyone can do it. Second is that IBC is natively work with our core idea that is this is the ICA and the ICQ solution that allows you to connect to these sub accounts on the other chain. So if we'll start to work with Chainlink as example or with layer zero, we'll probably need to change what is already working in really efficient and secure way. Until today, no break into the IBC. The only things that happened, if I remember correctly, was like 2 months ago with the Terra money, and this was like a glitch or a patch that they didn't fix, and was like automatically minting. But except this, that was like 100% secure. So yeah,
So you feel like these two solutions don't implement ICA or ICQ very well?
they will not, because the ICA model need to that's living on the chain. So it's basically two different ways that we develop on Nomos. So first of all, it's ICA models came from the Cosmos SDK and from Cosm Wasm chains. So basically, the ICA model can exist as it should, only with IBC, only a message with IBC. I don't know on anyone that did it when on a different way, and there is specific reason for that. And I don't want to dig too much into the technology, but basically, when you open an ICA, you open like a kind of like a sub channel that this is this channel that control on your ICA, and this is only belong to you. So it's mean that like it's not, no one is using it for like moving tokens or something like this. It's like a different relayer that's sitting there. So I don't know if Chainlink or Layer Zero can do one of the things, because this is what keep the ICA so secure, and no one can send a message to your ICA and tell him what to do. Um, so that's the first thing. The second thing is for what we build on the Ethereum side. So also in Nomos, we build the ICA model on Ethereum and let user to connect with IBC into from Cosmos, as example, to the Ethereum chain, one of the EVM chain. And we built something that it's not the ICA model, because this is belong only to the Cosmos SDK with the Cosmos Wasm implementation, or just Cosmos, a regular Cosmos SDK. I would say that not like supporting EVM or something like this. But for other EVM, we use like kind of like factory for like ICA, we call it, and it's kind of the copy of ICA, and you connect with IBC. Now, for doing this, really need to be like specific channel that you control on it, and you're the only one who can talk with this ICA. If I'm gonna start to share this channel or this relayer with someone else, it basically can be like a kind of security problem, I'll say. From my knowledge, no hyperlink, no Chainlink or Layer Zero ever open like this kind of like ICA model into one of the chains. So I don't know even if it's like, I don't know even if like it's possible.
Interesting. So it's you think it's an exclusive feature of IBC?
for the 6th of October right now, yes.
Yeah, got it.
But maybe someone working on someone on the shadow, and we don't know yet, and they're gonna like, of course.
Understood. So, and you had some previous experience at a capital fund. Perhaps you can share what made you leave that and start Nomos.
Yeah, I think that was starting in couple of steps. So I really, it was like a family office. We invested in a lot of projects in the Web3. Most of them are infra. We
Why
we
in
really,
particular? Why in particular infrastructure? Why was that the mandate?
because it was, I was joined. I was joined in 2017, and it was like I don't know, I don't know how long are you in the crypto space. If you've been in
Since
2000.
2015. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So remember the ICU boom, and like
Oh
I
yeah.
remember all like these apps that maybe today we need, but back then they're like everyone launched their own token and like marketplaces on the token, things like this. And then people try to use it, and I'll say like maybe in 2020, well, like with the DeFi. So like everyone tried to use it, and then we see like or it was like a scalable problem, or it was like an RPC problem, or it was like a lot of like different problems that things. Solana was like falling down every 2 days. Um, and we say, okay, that's super cool. And we start to chart this graph of like, uh, where is the dApp is going up, I'll say, the infra is going down. So we said, okay, this is the time to invest in infra because we need a better infra. So we invest in a lot of infra. One of them like that I'm most proud is like Fuel Network, that it's a roll-up that building something close to like kind of like version of Rust. They have their own sequencer and everything. Really recommend to read about. So we invest in a lot of this like infra and these solutions. And then I felt like after this that a lot of things that start to be stuck. And I said, okay, we have this chain and we have this chain, and everyone start to be like their own chain and their own info, but there is no way to connect between them. So I met it was in the start two co-founders, now it's one, but I met two co-founders that two guys from MIT. They was like bullish about DAOs. I really love DAOs. Until today, I really love DAOs. I think it's one of the most powerful use cases that we have in Web3. And we start to build something that's called sub accounts for DAOs. Not gonna like spend too much about it, but it's a decentralized way to control like this. What you see today, this like private multisigs that if something happen, we can call them. So we build it in decentralized way that like the chain can like basically the DAO main DAO can basically cancel the vote or things like this. And from there we start to explore, and like I said, go into multisig and so on. And in the last year and a half, I think I fully get into like a full position, kind of like getting tired, I'll say, from like investing and this call. I felt like a little bit like everything was like the same, and I think a lot of people are complaining on this right now. But yeah, and I said like, okay, if they're the same, but everyone, and with a lot of respect to any builders, like to build it super, it's much harder than the invest. Let me promise you this. Uh, but if all of them, and this is how we get into Nomos, all of them are like building something, and all of them have this like small little change, even that like making better than the other one, or targeting different audience. Okay, let's connect between them. And I think this is how Nomos was came alive, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna leave this like VC and go over to build.
Were you first capital into Nomos to start the company as well?
No, so it was like our first our own money
That's what I
for
mean.
developing. Yeah. So not from CMT or something, like just our founders' money. Like yeah.
Right on.
Uh, yeah.
And what have you found the market to be like? How have you found people responsive to the product?
So it depends. So right now we're building something with Union that is still in settle. That means you talked about like I think like 2 weeks ago. That I'm super excited about, and we fully on it. It's something that build our Nomos technology and the Union technology. I would say that like when we start to talk about nomos and things like this, so first of all you need to like separate it. People getting scared when you say cosmos, but they don't understand that most of the chains they're using today are using cosmos SDK. So I mean guys,
So
seriously,
why don't you list some for people who don't know?
what like so they're like okay like you're gonna use Bear chain, it's a cosmos SDK.
Bear,
It's say cosmos SDK. Intia that's gonna be launched a lot of iPad. You really accepted this Cosmos SDK. Movement, I think it's a Cosmos SDK as well. Uh, I think BNB chain started as a Cosmos SDK that determined it. Now the thing is that they're not connecting all of them to IBC. Part of them yes, part of them now, and this is why people have to are trying to recognize. But the validator, the mechanism, determined it, the Cosmos BLT, everything. It's Cosmos SDK, guys. It's like don't afraid when people say like Cosmos. The Cosmos Hub, it's was a general idea that I think a little bit like loses direction, and I hope they're gonna found it again. Uh, that the technology that they build there, it's amazing. Literally every even in fuel, the sequencer is a Cosmos SDK. So like almost everyone is using a Cosmos SDK. That's literally crazy, or took something from Cosmos. Um, so it was first like tell people, okay, this is a Cosmos idea, and they're like, Cosmos is dead. I like you don't understand, but you literally invest in other chain that it's a Cosmos SDK, like $1 million, and you don't know, but it's a Cosmos SDK.
yeah, but this is the problem, right? When the meme,
Yeah,
it's the meme that matters, and when people think about it, that's what they hear. But
yeah,
just to reiterate, like BNB chain, Initia, which is just launching, Berachain, um, uh, Say, obviously Osmosis,
yeah.
Dimension, Saga,
Dimension,
um,
lava.
Celestia, Lava. We had them on earlier.
That was
Yes,
like too obvious for me. It was too obvious, like Lava, Celestia, that I didn't mention them. But yeah, Lava and Celestia also it's a Cosmos SDK.
yes, and obviously you mentioned Archway earlier. So all these chains are different communities of users, and when I've been in the space since 2015, and what really attracted me was obviously early Ethereum, and then Avalanche. Um, and when Avalanche's layer one infrastructure, then called subnets, was out, I was like, we have to build a connection to Cosmos. Like, it's
Yeah,
obvious we have to do this. And so next week we're open sourcing our IBC Lite
amazing.
client for Avalanche, which will be great. After 2 years of brain damage, we're done. We finished the Halborn audit, and then so for people listening who don't know, we forked the Cosmos SDK, just like Ohad suggested, and instead of the Cosmos consensus algorithm, we're using Avalanche consensus, and we had all
That's a
that.
lot of work, man. Congrats. That's a
Yeah,
lot of work.
cheers. Sometimes you're like building in a small room, like, and like talking to your wife about it, and then like something
Yeah,
finally comes
I'm,
out,
I'm
and you're
not gonna
like,
be surprised if a lot of other chains will gonna in the future gonna use it. What you did if you put it in open source, that's like pretty impressive.
oh yeah, well, we hope so. And that, we and hats off to the ICF, the Interchain Foundation, for funding the open source light client development, and that was their mandate was to grow the interchain community, and we
Yeah,
built it, and it's open source, so anybody can run it. um, and like, we realized that a lot of people don't like building in open source, but because they're worried about competition. But it's I don't it's so hard to do what we're doing. Like,
yeah,
best of luck, like, really, like, good luck. um,
yeah.
so, but anyway, like, we'd love to schedule a Nomos integration, like, ASAP. Like, we're totally ready
Yeah,
to go with
is
our.
is easily using I know you're using like Solidity, and I know you're using like Cosmos as well.
Yep.
So basically in IBCs and IBC, easily just like launch our contract. We can do it, super simple, and then just need to decide like what app you want to build over it, or what app you need to connect. If you want osmosis, so osmosis. And this is a really cool thing, because like who is listening to us can understand that osmosis currently, in my way, it's the app on the Cosmos ecosystem. Let's say it like this. Like most of the liquidity when you're using Skip, that it's amazing product. You move in mostly through osmosis if you are in the Cosmos space. And with our integration as example, and this is what we did with Archway, uh, the assets that sitting on osmosis can be used directly at one click from Landslide. So think about it. That's pretty amazing.
Exactly.
So you have the assets. You have the like, I don't know what is the TVL that they have there. Like what is the liquidity that they have there? But this liquidity, it's basically can be used on Landslide from first day, and user can don't need to go to a new chain and like, oh, we don't have liquidity. There are no project. No, they're already. It's there. It's
Yeah, so
there and it's ready.
I wanna drill in on this, because we have AVAX liquidity lined up, right? And so
Yeah,
for people who don't know, if you're if you're a Cosmos head and you're in Osmosis, and you cannot buy Avalanche with your current asset. Like you have to go and jump through a couple hoops and do push-ups and get onto a centralized exchange. But in this case, AVAX can be locked on Landslide from a person's account and then minted on Osmosis over IBC.
amazing. Not
And
right. That's correct.
so here's a follow up. Where is the TVL?
Yeah,
is the
correct.
TVL on Avalanche or Osmosis?
That's the mechanism that I think people need to understand what happened in IBC. So the TVL, both of the chains are getting like in the benefit of something like this. Why? First of all, both of them you're paying in both of them, that even you don't know, the gas fees. So both of the gas fees going to the validators, and don't worry, the other side paying by the relier, but both of them are getting paid. That's the first thing. Second thing is that Osmosis users or like developers can say, oh, but you're taking our liquidity to Landside. That's not true. That's not true. The only thing that's happening is the assets that you have already in Landslide is getting swapped on Osmosis and going back to Landslide. Nothing has been changed. You are still getting your fees. And this is what it's important. You're still getting your fees, and you still can provide liquidity into the Osmosis pool. Now, saying all of this together, and this is important to say, the assets that's gonna be on Landside is gonna be the assets that's gonna be as example, like Celestia.osmosis. That's how IBC work. It's available, it's fine. Just people need to know how to use it. But this is the assets that getting accepted on Osmosis, and this is really important. So it's mean that like, it's not like I'm taking you like to a ghost chain and like you don't know where it's gonna be tomorrow. It's literally like a legit chain that you they have enough liquidity, and you can go and basically swap there and get in back with your assets. So this is how IBC work, and this is why it's so in its strong development. I'll say that what I did there is that you sending your tokens, is basically you're burning on one side and minting on the other side. So the different from, we didn't touch that so much, but really fast, like other bridges, mostly what they're doing, they have two pools on on each side, and using oracles or like these different reliers that like I'm locked in one chain and like sending from another pool on the other chain. And this is where you see most of the breaks and the drain and scams is happening in this kind of solution. And this is because they're too much depending, in my opinion, on smart contracts. and not on the mechanism. Like again, we don't gonna get how IBC actually work with light clients and all of this, but yeah.
We should schedule a deep dive for like with Union as well, so that, and then we could go right through the technical details and have it crawled by an AI, so people who black out won't, if they mid
Definitely.
speech, they could totally understand it a little bit. Or like we write an opera about it, or a rap song, or something very simple for people to
I
grok.
have to say, a lot of these things that I learned about IBC that I started to explore was from the Skip guys. So if you have time, go to their docs. They really explain like the IBC implementation and why like we talk. I think we talk like maybe on 30% from what IBC can do. IBC also have hooks and a lot of amazing stuff that basically can happen. So yeah, I mean that's like pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
we should
Yeah,
do the IBC hook song at another time, because it's if you want to just give a brief summary of it, like happy to go through it.
yeah. So IBC hooks, it's basically a way to, without using ICA. So let's say that the IBC know what to send and where to finish the destination. Like let's say that I wanna send from landslide and finish at, I have like, let's say I have AVAX on landslide, I wanna trade it on Osmosis, let's say that I have a pool there, and I wanna finish on the Cosmos app. So the hook, what you know to do is to go from landslide, swap in on Osmosis, and then the IBC getting the message when it's happened, and then send it to the Cosmos app to the address that I asked. So yeah, it's like one finish, the other one is taken into the other mission, and so on, and keep going. So that's pretty amazing, and that also can work on all the way around. That's a little bit more complicated, but really in a nutshell, that's like what hooks is.
But you see, like you and I can grok this, but like this should be totally simplified for normies who just want to be like, just log into an interface and just type or say something, and like, I don't want to, just jump through 7 different IBC hooks just to do whatever. That's totally for an AI agent.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's something definitely can be with AI agents.
Yeah, so we're talking to there are a couple AI agent teams on Avalanche we're talking to, so we're happy to bring them over to Cosmos. And then shout out to the Skip team. We're scheduling an integration with them soon.
Amazing.
So yeah, our job at Landslide is to just be as we're like the mushrooms in the earth, trying to set up as many connections over these single-stranded hyphae as possible to make as a robust sort of internet. That's the way I sort of think about it. We're coming up on the hour here.
I think landslide is gonna be like, and I think that's in general, and people need to understand how important this landslide will, like if you have like their token, stake there and secure the network, because landslide is gonna be like I'll say this app, this integration that will connect between now Cosmos, but maybe in the future like other networks as well. If you expand your IBC, for example, with Union, into the Avalanche. So everything that we want to move from other chains will need to move through landslide.
That's the idea.
Even if you don't know it, and that will be amazing.
If we can do that, my wife would be very proud. Yeah, that's the vision. We're coming up on the hour here. Do you want to talk a little bit about Nomos's like token system? Do you want to go through any of that?
Yeah, so we don't really have like a token system at the moment. Like I said, I'm a big fan of DAOs, and I believe that like there's supposed to be like in the limit of what is like legit and fine to do, like I'll say like dividends or something like this for the users or for the holders. So that's just a way to how to find it. But I'll say that we, like I said, look at what we're building, and it's going to be really soon with the union
Great.
team. It's going to be really groundbreaking, I'll say, in everything that's related into the liquidity and security, sharing security, different yields, even ETFs and things like this. Really take an eye on this. It's a project that we work on him a lot, and it's really something that I think in a personal, of course, like as the founder and the CEO of the project, that's like no one did before, and so we're gonna be like huge. Yeah, keep an eye on the Nomos Twitter account, and you're gonna see we're gonna announce it there really soon.
Now, I have to commend you because you're creating an interoperability protocol without a specified token.
Correct, because we are not a chain. We're gonna have a token, but we're not a chain. And this is like we believe that like in the start, it's need to be like the use is coming first, and we don't need it because we don't need to pay to validators right now. It's example, and so we don't need it from the first day, but definitely something that belongs to the community in the end of the day, and it's gonna have a token. The thing is, what is going to be the utility on the token? Now, from Noma specifically, I don't know. From other project that we're building together with Union, we already have like the token model that we know what we're going to do. But yeah, this is a privilege when you're not running a chain. And it was like our decision not to run a chain, because then we can work with people like you and the Union team and the Archway team and so on. Yeah.
That's a very unusual trajectory, sir. I commend you for that ability. What maybe share some stuff what's going on with Archway? Like you guys were partnered with them for a while.
Yeah.
What's going on the chain?
Yeah, so Archway, I think they are the most like underrated chain out there in the Cosmos side. I have a lot of love to Griffin and Max and Nate and Ethan. They help us so much on the start, and I think they are still like. I think they are still like exploring like the way that how they should react. They have a crazy development I'm talking right now on developers. So for developers, they have like this reward mechanism that it's literally amazing. Like if you want to build like a social feed, that's something that it's going to be really hard to get like paid for. Like it's not a DEX that you're taking like a fee from for any swap. Basically running on chain, any execution on chain that getting out, you're getting the reward.
Just to clarify for people, Archway is a Cosmos chain that one of their defining characteristics is that if you develop a contract, you get a cut of the transactions that are happening over the gas fees.
Yeah, and correct. And so you're getting this reward. So it's like for DAOs, for like communities, for social feed. Amazing. And they also have for DeFi protocols and things like this, they have like callbacks. So callbacks, who don't know, it's kind of like I would say like an automatic message that getting like from the smart contract is getting triggers and can happen like on each period of time and so on. That's something that really usually people use it with oracles. They do it on chain. So that's like pretty amazing like progress. We personally use it when we run the osmosis swap from Archway. And I think it's something that they need to open or some way to get like announce on that people will know that like more people will use it. I think the thing is that again, it's really hard to bring users. And unfortunately, like Nomos ran a multisig there that was the multisig purpose was to advance this reward for developers, but for teams. So if me and you are building something together, we're letting the address that getting the rewards to the multisig, and then we share the reward between me and you. and unfortunately, as Nomos is taking different ways, we decided to sunset down the multisig for now after asking the Archway community if they want to buy the IP from us. Unfortunately, this didn't accept, but I'm still with a lot of like appreciate and thanks for the Archway community and for the director at Phi Labs, who is the like main contributor to the um, to this to the Archway ecosystem that supported us until now.
Well, my question to you is, how can we help? I mean, we can basically deploy Archway contracts on Avalanche and give those
Yeah,
developers a larger cut, right?
yeah, you basically can do it. The thing is that if you want to use the reward mechanism, so it's something that coming from the blockchain, so it's have to be on their blockchain.
That's fine. I
So
mean, they could
yeah,
Archway could deploy layer 1 through Landslide.
okay. So if they would like to do it, of course, I think you should talk with the team about it. But yeah, I think that like this mechanism of reward sharing for developers, it's gonna take down from the fees also, but also gonna get down from like the say it's gonna take down from the fees, but also gonna bring a lot more developers uh, that built over different chains and didn't find their path or something like this, or don't know what to do with the rewards, and so on.
Understood. Well, great. It's been a pleasure having you, and we look forward to scheduling our integration. Anything else you'd like to
Definitely.
leave the audience with?
No, just really follow Landslide, follow Nomos, see the announcement, see when we do the integration, see when we launch in our new product. And yeah, long live the IBC, I
Long live
think.